Yes, people. Welcome back to the finished article and welcome back to All Things Wrestling, a show that we haven't actually touched on for quite some time. I've got my boy Shaz joining me soon, but before we do bring him on, I just want to say rest in peace to Jay Briscoe. Sad news to hear of the car accident and him passing away. I'll bring my boy Shaz on and we'll get things cracking though. Yeah. Yes, bro. We're good.
What's happening, bro? You all right? You good?
All good, man. All good. The Bloodline is now on your screen. It's Jimmy and Jay. You saw the two Shazzies, bro.
Let's go. It's
Let's
Royal
go,
Rumble
man.
weekend.
It's Royal Rumble week. It's the Royal Rumble weekend started already. I know it's Friday, but the weekend starts after work finishes on a Friday. Let's be honest, yeah.
Yeah, let's go. How was your work trip? Hopefully everything was all right.
Yeah, work trip was good, man. Work trip was good. Enjoyed it. But back home, back on the podcast, ready for the Royal Rumble on Saturday night. Obviously, we've got SmackDown later on today, which will be the final show before the Royal Rumble kicks off. I know you've seen the video, Shaz. We've all seen them. Cody Rhodes has put himself into the Royal Rumble, and a lot of people weren't expecting him back this soon because of the injury that he had just back at Hell in a Cell a couple of months ago. He's recovered quite well after his surgery. He's just been rehabbing every day, just pushing himself to get ready. I think he wanted to come back for the Royal Rumble because it gives him the opportunity to win the Rumble and then go on to headline WrestleMania, where he obviously returned last year at WrestleMania. So,
yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, especially when he fought Seth Rollins a year ago at WrestleMania, and this year. It's going to be interesting to see what position he comes in as. I don't know if that's been announced yet.
Well, he did post just the number 4 on Twitter. So people have been speculating that he's going to be the 4th entry into the Rumble, and a little bit of history on the number 4. No one's actually ever joined at number 4 and then gone on to win the Rumble. So if he does come in at number 4 and win the Rumble, that's another thing he's done. He's made history on winning the Rumble from that position. But yeah, I mean, okay, so I won't ask you who you think is going to be in the Rumble because we all know what you're expecting, bro. We'll get into that later on. We'll get into the names later on. But who's your predicted winner for the Rumble? Maybe you'll give it away who you think's in the Rumble by answering this, but who's realistically the best person right now that's on the roster, not a return or anything like that? Who's the best person right now to win the Rumble and go on to headline WrestleMania against the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns?
Well, if it was anything like we saw last year's Rumble, where we all saw Lesnar lose the championship and then come back and win the Rumble.
Yeah. And then he went on to WrestleMania and got smashed by the Tribal Chief.
Yes, yeah, that was interesting.
That's all I'm saying on that one, bro. But Bobby Lashley returned on Raw, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't see Lashley winning it though. For me,
not Lashley, sorry, but Lesnar. Lesnar came out on Raw and cost him his match against Austin Theory.
Lesnar did come out. I mean, if I had to pick a favorite right now, just for fun, because we're all predicting this.
Of course, man. Of course.
Sami Zayn. What's the name?
Do you know what, bro? I would love to see Sami Zayn win and then see where that keeps him with the Bloodline. Because right now, yes, he was not guilty at that at the hearing on SmackDown or whatever it was. Was it on SmackDown or Raw?
It was on Raw.
It was on Raw, sorry. Yeah, the opening segment where he was on trial. And the way Jey Uso just popped out of nowhere and saved him with that the defense videos, that was pretty cool, man. But I'd love to see Sami Zayn win this. I don't think he will.
No, I don't think that. Like I said, I gave a prediction based on just being silly. We all know that I want The Rock to come back, but it's not going to happen. But you know what,
bro? We don't even know if The Rock's meant to be at the Rumble tomorrow. And
I don't know.
is,
I like to go with the unpredictability of it, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah. So before there was a lot of spoilers put out. Like there was people obviously leaking news to people and saying this guy's coming back. This is what's happening. Blah blah blah. But now there's not much, from what I've heard, of anything to do with The Rock, even if he's going to be there or not. There's no speculation at all about it. But obviously, there's people like me and there's people like you who think, yeah, The Rock's going to come back. He's going to come in at number 30. He's going to hit a rock bottom. He's going to hit a people's elbow. He's going to throw a few people over the top rope, and boom, he's going to be a winner and fight Roman Reigns. But,
so do you remember the Royal Rumble? I think it was 3-4 years ago when it was the Authority against Roman Reigns, and The Rock came back. I don't know whether he was predicted to be there. I saw a tweet, but then I don't know.
He just came out to help him at the end, didn't he? And raise his hand. I think it was the one where it was in Philly because the Philly crowd really booed Roman Reigns that night when he won the Rumble. And that's when he went. Was that the year that he went on to fight Brock Lesnar and then Seth Rollins cashed in on him?
Yeah, that was.
I think it was when. Yeah, that was the night that that cashing by Seth Rollins at WrestleMania is still probably the best Money in the Bank cashing I've ever seen, bro.
Yeah,
and as Michael Cole put it, it was the heist of the century. The way like it all went down, and then out of nowhere, he just came out with that comment saying, "Oh, it's the heist of the century." It was brilliant. I hope we do get to see more moments like that at WrestleMania. I hope. I mean, Roman Reigns has been champion for what, over 800 days now. 800 days.
Yeah, he's got a fair bit to go on Bruno Sammartino, but he's definitely over 800 days.
Definitely, man. But even if he loses it at WrestleMania this year, you know, that's going to put him up there as one of the best champions in the history of WWE.
No, I think the segment that him going heel, obviously having Heyman and then building his stable around the bloodline, I think that's been probably the best bit of WWE right now, considering how bad the brand has been. The bloodline have kept the brand going, single-handedly.
I mean, if it wasn't for the whole Roman Reigns and the bloodline storyline right now, I don't think many people will be watching WWE, me included. I'll be honest with you. The only reason I tune into Raw, SmackDown is for the bloodline and the Judgment Day. I actually enjoy Finn Balor. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He has been for a long time. But the whole thing with the Judgment Day, I'm not really enjoying it as much. I preferred Finn Balor when he went back to NXT for his second run in NXT.
I remember that.
That whole run was brilliant, and then they brought him up to SmackDown just to lose to Roman Reigns as the Demon, and the Demon's never lost before, and that was his first loss because the turnbuckle broke. Come on, man, what the hell was that? I mean, we spoke about that before, didn't we, Shaz? I mean, I don't really want to go into it now because I could complain about that for a long time, bro.
I remember we talked about it in the previous podcast we did a while back.
Yeah, we spoke about that on one of the previous shows.
But you know what? Stranger things have happened, and like I said, I want to see a bit of spoilers, but as Shaz has said, it's probably going to be the predictable results. I mean, would I love to see Kevin Owens win tomorrow? Yeah, why not? Would I love to see the fact that Sami Zayn isn't going to throw Kevin Owens under? Yeah, I'd love to see it because, as I said, and Shaz knows this very well, I never really considered Sami Uso or Sami Zayn as part of the bloodline. So
you were worse than Jey Uso. You hate the guy. You still do. Let's talk about this, bro. You still hate the guy. What's your beef with Sami Zayn, man? Come on, the honorary use, man. What's your beef with the honorary use?
Bro, it's like having a misfit come into your house and be like, yeah, you're my long lost relative, bro.
Yeah, but he's been there for the bloodline a lot. He helped him win the tag titles. He took a spear for Roman Reigns. Was it a spear? No, the Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre. He's done countless other things. I can't remember all the other things that he's done. Yeah, he shied away from getting involved in some fights backstage and whatnot. where the Bloodline have been jumped. He stayed away from them. But on the other side, he's helped them, win matches, keep the streaks going and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying it. Like, this is the best side of Sami Zayn we've seen in a long time. Like,
Probably,
on the mic wise, his segments and everything. This is what Sami Zayn does best. And I think we're getting the best out of him within this storyline.
Yeah, it's definitely been a breath of fresh air, especially after the last couple of years where he wasn't used properly.
Yeah, exactly,
he's
man.
definitely getting the push that he probably deserves and needs.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn involvement in this storyline right now makes it even better because they've got a storied history all the way going back to Ring of Honor. And even before that, they've fought all over the world, these guys, man. They fought together, they fought against each other. And I think that's going to play a big part in the match against Roman Reigns.
Oh, without
what I think is going to happen is Sami Zayn is going to come out and just attack Kevin Owens, which means Kevin Owens wins by disqualification. So Roman Reigns keeps his title, but doesn't win the match because of Sami Zayn attacking Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Like they did, like the Bloodline did to Sami Zayn on SmackDown when he was fighting Kevin Owens and he was literally about to beat him and the Bloodline just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and took him out through the table and he was like, why what you guys doing?
He's like, why are you doing this? I'm doing my job. The tribal chief sent me to do a job. I'm doing my job and you just ruined it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that.
That's what I would like to see, especially at the Royal Rumble, because it's one of the big pay-per-views. It's a pay-per-view now. Sami Zayn gets to make a statement against Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. But then he could turn around and say, well, I helped you. You've kept your title. What do you want? And then Sami Zayn goes on to win the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn goes to WrestleMania to fight the tribal chief.
Shit, man. Shit, you put a different spin on that, bro.
That's a good spin, though, innit, man?
I like that spin.
That's one way they could go, man. That's one way they can go. And then Sami Zayn turns on. That's where Sami Zayn's turns on the Bloodline tonight, because he's realized that even though I'm part of the Bloodline, I'm never going to be real blood to these guys.
That's what I mean, yeah.
That's one way of doing it, but obviously there's so many different scenarios that there's so many different winners for the Royal Rumble. The other ones, they could give Mustafa Ali the push that he was due to get, but he got injured and Kofi Kingston got it at the Elimination Chamber and then went on to WrestleMania to beat Daniel Bryan a few years ago.
I remember that, yeah.
That whole push, that Kofi Mania, as they called it, Kofi Mania, that was actually meant to be Mustafa Ali's rise to the top. And he was actually meant to beat Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania like Kofi Kingston did. But because I believe Mustafa Ali got injured before the Elimination Chamber by Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton broke his nose or something.
Yeah, I remember there was a backstage fight and he got injured, and then it was like, okay.
No, it was an in-ring fight. It was an in-ring match. Randy Orton and Mustafa Ali, and I think he either went for an RKO and it messed up, or I think he kicked him in the face or punched him in the face or something that obviously went wrong where he's broke his nose. But I would like to see, away from the Rumble, but I would like to see Mustafa Ali get a push to the top main event, because he's a good wrestler.
Yeah, but on the other hand, can you also see Randy Orton returning? That could be also.
I see Randy Orton returning tonight. Even though he won't win the Rumble, I think he will be in the Rumble.
He'll come in number 30.
I don't think he'll come number 30. If The Rock's there, The Rock will come number 30. If The Rock's not there, then it'll be John Cena or Randy Orton at number 30.
Oh, John Cena's definitely going to come in, bro.
Yeah, 100%. John Cena's going to be in the Rumble. I've got a feeling that he's going to be there.
Oh, he's definitely going to be there.
Oh, he's definitely going to be there, bro. He's definitely going to be there.
Let me ask you this, right? What do you think? What do you think about this interesting scenario of Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio in the Rumble? How do you see that panning out?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't see Rey Mysterio fighting his own son because he said it that he doesn't want to fight his own son, which is why he moved to SmackDown and now carrying crosses on his case.
Yeah, but if he's in the Rumble, then it's every man.
I don't know. I mean, if
Or
they're
they
one on one, if there's
team up
nobody
together.
else there, then I see Dominic just throwing Rey out. But I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens there because I've got a feeling that maybe Dominic will try and play with Rey's feelings and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dad," and blah blah blah. He'll go for a hug and then throw him out, type of thing. I don't know. I mean, it's a very weird situation, that one, Shaz, because Rey said he won't fight him. I see them try and maybe Dominic try and play on Rey's feelings and, "Oh, sorry, Dad, this, that, the other," and then just throwing him out.
Yeah, could be.
Kind of thing. Now, one thing, Shaz, obviously, we're speaking about the Royal Rumble, and we spoke about John Cena and The Rock coming back. We've talked about Randy Orton coming back. I also see Edge returning at this in the Royal Rumble again because he's been out for a while now. Another person, I'm not 100% sure if this person's contract with AEW has expired, but it's a possibility. Christian.
Okay.
Possibly, if his contract expired, which I believe it has, but I'm not 100% sure, he could potentially come back with Edge, and then from Raw, it's Edge and Christian as a tag team, and maybe they go after the Usos.
Okay, what about CM Punk?
His contract hasn't been terminated with AEW.
Okay.
He's still injured. He is still injured, though, so it's not like...
Okay.
Even though he's injured, even if he wasn't, bro, he won't be coming back at the Rumble because his contract with AEW is not up.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure
Now,
with that. Fair enough.
There's a lot of talk that Triple H and the guy from WWE, I think he's called Nick Khan, they're both, obviously after Vince McMahon left, they were both very interested in working maybe with AEW. And at one point I can't remember when it was. It wasn't this Raw 30. It was a different Raw something. One of the previous special editions of Raw.
Yeah.
Where DX turned up. There was a deal almost on the table that Billy Gunn was going to show up on Raw as part of that whole DX thing. Like WWE had all the arrangements done. They, his hotel, his transport. They had all that side of it sorted. All they needed to do was pay it, and then something went wrong, and it just didn't go ahead. Which all they were going to do is obviously when they announced him as Billy Gunn, they were just going to put a little thing at the bottom saying AEW superstar or AEW wrestler, which I think would have helped with the relationship between AEW and WWE. And what I want to see going forward at some point, I don't know if it's ever going to happen because I don't think WWE will play ball in this. I would like to see a Forbidden Door type of pay-per-view between AEW and WWE. I know we've had it with AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I really enjoyed that pay-per-view. But I also want to see a WWE versus AEW. And the way I would do that is have just the champion versus champion type of fight. So you've got Roman Reigns at the moment against MJF. And then you've got the Acclaimed versus the Usos.
Well, why not mix it up and go one step further and do what WCW did back in the day and invade?
No, but WCW only invaded WWE because they've been bought out by them, bro. So the only way an invasion would work is if either Tony Khan bought WWE or if WWE bought AEW.
Yeah, but
that's the only way an invasion would work. Obviously, you've got the Forbidden. Let's say they do decide to do an AEW versus WWE, whatever you want to call it, Forbidden Door pay-per-view or just a pay-per-view of these guys versus these guys. You can't you can't just go ahead and then say Roman Reigns is going to fight MJF. And then you wait 3 months for the pay-per-view and nothing happens. Obviously, MJF will have to turn up on Raw and SmackDown and do what he does and talk shit. and then you'd have the Bloodline come out on Dynamite and attack people and stuff like that. Obviously, you would get that type of invasion feeling from it because they're coming onto each other's shows. But the only way that would work is if they both agree on everything.
What about a Survivor Series style? So do you remember back a few years ago when you had NXT, NXT Raw and SmackDown Survivor Series? I think that's something that could work. But
that was really good. At that point, they were trying to make NXT something of a third brand, like Raw, SmackDown, NXT. But right now, the way Vince McMahon sees NXT and the way it is at the moment, there's not enough superstars there. There's not enough real superstars there. They're all development.
Yeah.
So I would like to see it, but all the people that were NXT at that point have all really gone.
Correct.
Like, Adam Cole just returned to AEW. Who's the other guy? Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. They've gone. Roderick Strong's still there. Tommaso Ciampa's out injured. Johnny Gargano's on Raw. Dijakovic's back on NXT. Keith Lee's in AEW. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, a lot of them have gone, basically.
NXT now isn't what it was back then. You don't have the big names in NXT now. Whereas at that point, you had a lot of big names, like I've just mentioned all them names that were big names in NXT. Obviously, Finn Balor was back there. Karrion Kross was there just before he got released and come back. Maybe if they try and develop these people a bit better, it would work out better. Obviously, yes, they're doing well with NXT. Like the way they're building the people up in NXT, like LA Knight, who's just come to SmackDown. I know he came up as a different character, as this weird manager type thing, and then he ditched them when Triple H took over, and now he's gone back to LA Knight. I like the way they're building up Bron Breakker.
Mm-hmm.
It is a bit ridiculous that he just keeps beating everybody. He hasn't lost in a long time, but that's what they're doing with Roman Reigns. So why not do it with someone else and build them up as well?
That's not a bad idea, actually. It's a good shout.
I also like the fact that the New Day of NXT is the NXT Tag Team Champions.
But they did that with Asuka a while back. Do you remember when she went like? But you know what I'm talking about, bro.
Yeah, she had that undefeated streak for so long and then just lost to Charlotte Flair. I remember you telling me, bro.
And I was like, okay, well, I know I go off on a tangent, but I was like, why would you do that? So why give him a push in the first place for her to lose like that?
Yeah. The thing is, NXT creative are a lot better than WWE creative.
Well, yeah.
Because NXT is, you've got Shawn Michaels at the head of NXT creative. You've got Road Dogg with him, and the guy was Albert A-Train.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Those three are heading up NXT. I think the guy who was Albert, he's doing coaching, and Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg are doing the creative side. Shawn Michaels is head of creative and talent there. And Shawn Michaels was probably the big reason that Mandy Rose got sacked.
Probably, yeah.
Because of obviously what she was doing. It's not that it was against the policy. I think it was just. So I don't actually know. I haven't seen the pictures and whatnot that people were talking about. But I think it was just too much for WWE to say she's a WWE women's wrestler and she's doing X, Y, and Z outside of WWE. And from what I've heard online, that she made more money a month doing whatever she was doing than she actually did from a WWE contract. So she's probably better off without WWE right now.
Probably, yeah. If she wasn't getting used properly, then yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
The fact that she was on the main roster and then got moved down to NXT, she still had a 90-day no-compete clause. People in NXT don't have a 90-day 90-day no-compete clause. I think it's only 30 or 60 in NXT. But when they're on the main roster, it bumps up to 90. And she went up to the main roster and then went back down, but the no-compete didn't change. It stayed 90 from what I've heard.
Yeah, so I heard about that, yeah.
And that's why you have to wait 3 months for people who get sacked from WWE to show up in AEW or on Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, because that would just be the biggest spoiler ever to see him appear on those.
I mean, the reason they put that in there is because of what happened during the Attitude Era between WCW and WWF at the time. You had Rick Rude with DX on the Monday, and then obviously at that time Raw was pre-recorded, it was taped, and it was on Monday, so he was actually on Raw as a tape show because it pre-taped, and then his contract expired or he got released or whatever, and then on that same Monday he was on Nitro, which was live, and WWE don't want that.
Yeah,
that's why they screwed Bret Hart over, the Montreal screw job. They didn't want him taking the WWE title over to WCW like Alundra Blaze did and throw it in the bin.
Oh, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. That's the reason the screw job happened, bro. That is the reason the screw job happened.
Well, yeah,
now, a quick little thing about the screw job. I don't want to go too much detail because we did do a full video on this last year or the year before. So if you want to catch that, go back into the wrestling playlist and have a look for the Montreal screw job one that we did. But from what I heard, Bret Hart told Shawn Michaels that he would drop the title to him before he left and went to WCW. Shawn Michaels said, "I wouldn't do the same for you." He was just being arrogant, basically. He just basically said, "I wouldn't do the same for you." And then Bret Hart said, "I will." He basically said to Vince McMahon, "I will drop the title, but not to Shawn Michaels. Anybody else but Shawn Michaels." But the main event for Survivor Series that year in Montreal, Quebec was already set as Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. And they played it out at Bret, okay, well, you're going to win the match, blah, blah, blah. You'll relinquish the title on Raw. You will pay you for an appearance on Raw, so you relinquish the title, and then you can go to WCW the week after.
Yeah.
And then obviously the referee, Vince and Shawn, planned out the screw job or however it happened, and they screwed him over. And a lot of people say it was Bret screwed Bret, and I agree with it. He knew he was leaving the company, and he knew Vince didn't want him to leave as champion. So why not just say, okay, I'll drop the title, or I'll drop the title to Shawn Michaels, or I'll relinquish it I'll win the match against Shawn Michaels and then relinquish the title, or we don't have the match and we'll just say I got injured and had to relinquish the title, and then you can have a tournament or whatever for the title or whatever. They could have figured something out, but Bret Hart was just being stubborn, and I think Vince was being stubborn, and it just went down a dark path, and it ended up being a screw job. But we're not here to talk about the screw job. We're here to talk about a Royal Rumble, and obviously, I know you caught Raw, Shaz, Raw 30. What did you think of the whole Undertaker thing?
I liked it. So it was funny because LA Knight was in the ring kind of ripping it to everybody, said no one could kind of touch him. And then the gong dropped, and I thought, okay, which angle have we gone? I knew it was coming on because I think I mentioned it, but when the gong came, I thought, which angle is he playing it? Because that angle is pretty much done and dusted. Hit the gong, then it took a few minutes, but then the bike came out and the song hit. So no, I think the American Badass worked quite well. What was probably the most interesting part for me was when obviously Bray Wyatt was out there, and I know we talked about this back and forth.
Yeah, we did.
Shaz like to call it the passing of the torch.
No, I didn't mean it as in he's passing the torch to Bray Wyatt to be a dead man or anything like that. I just meant it kind of felt like that type of thing. You know what I mean, Shaz?
No, I know. I enjoyed the segment. I thought it went really well. Like the whole Undertaker appearance, and it was a nice touch to kind of bring him back. Like as a kind of
one segment I found funny was the APA thing at the back with Bradshaw and Corbin. That he wasn't on the list, and they paid him to get in, and then it just opened the door and went in, and around the door you could just see there was just nothing there. I mean, they used to do this in the Attitude Era as well. They used to have that door, And it just reminded me of the Attitude Era APA.
Yeah, I remember. I saw that and I looked at it. I was like, hang on, it's like there's no wall there. There's a door there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they used to do it back in the Attitude Era as well, but I used to laugh all the time. But I remember it from back then.
No, it was good. I enjoyed that. And then that was funny when DX came out and
and Kurt Angle was with him. Bro, what the hell was that whole deal with Kurt Angle being with DX, just like tagging along? Like they had nothing else for him to do. And he's like, oh, I've always wanted to be part of DX. And then he had a DX shirt on, and then he just randomly had a referee shirt underneath for the match. And I'm like, what is this? It was just so bad. Honestly, man, I was cringing at that part. It would have been fine if DX was there just as DX without Kurt Angle, because they usually do that.
I think that was the first time I've seen it happen like that. I was like, okay,
that was so cringy though, man. I mean, could they not have found something else for Kurt Angle to do? I mean, they did his birthday celebration about a month or so ago, didn't they? Where he did the milk truck thing and threw milk cartons into the ring and whatnot. I think it was on an episode of SmackDown or something.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that reminded me of what he did before, because it kind of mimics what Austin did with the beer truck and doing a beer bath on Vince and Shane and everyone. But then they did it again later with Kurt Angle with a hose and milk. But this time it wasn't a hose. He just had he was just opening the cartons and chucking them in and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. That was
who was with him at the time? I can't even remember, man. It was Chad Gable and Otis that he was against, but I can't remember who was on the other side with him.
I can't remember, to be fair. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it was a crazy one, that. It was crazy. But that whole thing with Kurt Angle coming out with DX was just stupid. Whoever booked it, which was probably Triple H who signed off on it, just a bad decision, if you ask me. I think that was one of the bad decisions of that night, was to have Kurt Angle come out with DX. I mean, and the other thing I didn't like about it was Brock Lesnar just came back for no reason, just to attack Bobby Lashley and restart their feud, even though he beat him at Crown Jewel.
That feud needs to die, bro. Honestly, I'm so tired of it.
What are they going to do? They're going to have another match at WrestleMania this year? That's what it's looking likely, because Brock Lesnar's not going to fight. There's no match announced for the Royal Rumble between them. Brock Lesnar's not going to fight on any of the pay-per-views leading up to WrestleMania, because he only fights on the big 4 pay-per-views. And maybe he'll fight Elimination Chamber if he's in the Elimination Chamber. But that's another thing. So the winner of the Royal Rumble normally gets to decide which championship he wants to go and fight for. But right now, they're both held by Roman Reigns.
Yeah. So
does that person who wins still get to just pick one title, or does he actually fight for the Undisputed Championship, which is both? And then do you also have the Elimination Chamber, and the winner of that fights Roman Reigns for the other title? So Roman Reigns does double duty at WrestleMania? You know, what's the crack? So is it just...
Here's my take on it. This close to WrestleMania, knowing the reign that Roman Reigns has been on, they're not gonna mess it up now. They're not gonna split the title, because that logically makes no sense leading into WrestleMania when you can have the biggest storyline.
No, it's not like they're gonna split it. I mean, the only way it would split is if he loses one and doesn't lose the other, which could only happen at WrestleMania. Like the guy who wins the Rumble fights him, and then they win.
That kind of undermines the whole head of the table. Because
no, it doesn't. No, definitely not, man. No way. I mean, he's got 2 titles, right? Yeah. And people are calling him a part-time champion and blah, 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 whatever they want to call him, because he's not defending the titles enough. Now, the same thing happened with Brock Lesnar. He wasn't defending it when he had it, unless it was a main 4 pay-per-view, one of the top 4 pay-per-views. Again, the same with Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns is showing up on a weekly basis on Raw and SmackDown and still putting the work in.
I go back to my point. I agree with you. Roman Reigns is not a part-time champion. But I go back to the fact that when you make decisions like this, and I think you'll agree with me on this, if you're going to do a passing of the torch or put someone over that's logically makes sense. Now, this topic is like a sore contention, and you know where I'm going with this. The Undertaker streak. So I go back to this that I used to watch WrestleMania after WrestleMania after WrestleMania.
Hold on, Shaz. Just give me a second, Shaz. I'm gonna go grab a drink whilst you talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I could come back in 20 minutes and you'll still be talking about it.
No, don't worry. I want.
I'm joking, bro. Carry on. Sorry, bro.
But
go on.
Let me try and sum it up. So since growing up, and Shaz knows this, watch WrestleMania after WrestleMania. Seeing the Undertaker win, it's fantastic. Anyway, that night, I think I didn't manage to catch it because I had to go to work, but I got a notification, and I opened it up, and I was like, "Nah, this can't be true." I think I messaged you that day. I broke a cardinal sin that me and Shaz never spoil it for each other. That night, I broke the cardinal sin.
You didn't, though. No, you didn't spoil it for me. You messaged me just asking me if I'd watched the Royal Rumble to see what happened. And I said, no, I've not seen it yet. And I remember your message. You turned around and said, Shaz, go back. Whenever you get time, watch it. And then message me and let me know so we can talk about it. Yeah. And I thought, what's actually happened here? Like, why is Shaz taking this so seriously? What's going on? And then I thought it's got to be something to do with The Undertaker. And I thought, oh, no. Brock Lesnar didn't beat The Undertaker, did he? Then I had to watch the match, and I'm like, oh, man, this is bad. And then I rang you straight away after watching it, and I'm like, Shaz, I've just seen it. And then I think we had like a half an hour conversation just about that match.
Yeah, anyway, so to tie this whole story up, basically, if you're gonna throw someone over, throw someone that's credible. Now, Roman Reigns, when Undertaker lost to Reigns, I kind of agree with that because that's basically him saying, look, Reigns, it's your time now. I've done what I needed to do, fair enough. But for me, Roman losing it to Brock Lesnar makes no sense because this guy is the biggest part-timer you will ever see. He just comes, goes.
Brock Lesnar didn't need The Undertaker to put him over. He was already over.
I know, exactly. Yeah,
Roman Reigns needed someone to put him over because the crowd hated him.
Yeah.
So it would have worked better if it were Roman Reigns and not Brock Lesnar.
That's what I mean, bro. I would have been
happy. Then the Undertaker lost to two people at WrestleMania. So
but that's my point, bro. So he lost to Lesnar. Then the next two WrestleManias, I think he won.
Yeah, he beat Bray Wyatt and someone else, and then he lost to Roman Reigns.
When did he fight John Cena? I can't. Okay,
yeah, I think it was John Cena that he beat, and then it was Reigns, and then after Reigns, it was I can't even remember what Gary.
Yeah, but anyway, the point being, his last WrestleMania was against AJ Styles, which actually was
that buried alive match.
Bro, that was perfect because it sent him off on the way. Now, my point is, some legacies, if he'd have kept that one legacy of keeping him undefeated, or Vince had said, "Listen, bro, we've got to end this now." So you find a way of preserving one element. The fact that he ended it to Lesnar still to this day doesn't make sense. Reigns I'm okay with. Lesnar didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I get you. And for the people that are viewing this, like, this is a very sore subject for Shaz, that The Undertaker losing to Brock Lesnar. Just so you are aware, I mean, if you've got any comments regarding that, fire them through and we'll bring them up for Shaz to... I can ask Shaz whatever questions you want about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shaz was very upset about the whole... I think he still is upset. I don't think he's got over the fact that Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar. Like, whenever we talk about it, whenever we bring it up on one of these shows, like, we always end up discussing it for quite a while, and it just ends with Shaz, like, having to leave the show in tears at sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Nah, but I mean, I would like to see a cameo of The Undertaker at the Rumble, but there'd be no point bringing him back just to have someone throw him out. It will ruin more of his legacy.
There is no way they're going to do his disrespect by making him come in and then get kicked out, because that's like, well, you don't need to do it to him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's bad enough.
Realistically,
it's bad enough Maven kicked him out of the Royal Rumble. Maven, of all people, if everyone remembers from back in the day.
Yeah.
Maven kicked
him out. Threw the Undertaker out of the Rumble. I remember that. They were trying to put Maven over, and he just never got over with the crowd. But for the people that have just started watching wrestling, or have no idea who Maven is, he was the original winner of Tough Enough. I think it was the first Tough Enough that he won. And for people who don't know what Tough Enough is, it was the original version of, like, the way they had NXT people coming out on Raw and SmackDown doing challenges. It was a whole thing called Tough Enough. It was like a TV show series just on Tough Enough. And I remember one of the guys from Tough Enough, what was his name? Daniel Pudemer or something like that. Can't remember his last name. He came out and he accepted Kurt Angle's open challenge. And if you remember, obviously, the most famous person who accepted that challenge then became a 16-time champion, John Cena. And this guy went in it for himself against Kurt Angle. He put him in a submission hold to try and win the match when he was actually just meant to go out there and have a little match with Kurt Angle, do a couple of moves, get beat, and then go into the back. But he tried to win the match on live TV. And Kurt Angle absolutely ripped into him backstage, and so did everybody else. And that's why that guy never made it. But Maven was a different subject, bro. I mean, he was a decent wrestler, but he wasn't the best, if you get what I mean.
No, I just like to find it funny. It was just in relation to your comment about the...
No, I'm just saying, I mean, he was a good wrestler, Maven, and at that point, they were trying to put him over, which is why they let, the Undertaker throw him out. But I don't think it worked because Maven just didn't do anything after that, and then he got released.
Yeah, true. Anyway, let's get back to the Royal Rumble. I know we digressed there.
Hey, we're talking about the Rumble, bro. Come on. But yeah, Royal Rumble, Shaz. Who else are we expecting back? We've got Roman. Obviously, we've got The Rock, potentially John Cena, Edge, Randy Orton. I'm chucking Christian's name in there. Who else do you think that could be a sideline? Big E. I've got a feeling we could see Big E because he's been out since before June, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been gone for a while.
Yeah, he actually had obviously that issue with his neck because of Rich Holland dropping him wrong on that over the head belly to belly suplex. So he actually got sidelined before Cody Rhodes even. Actually, no, did he? Yeah, because Cody Rhodes came back at WrestleMania, and then Big E got injured because Big E was champion. No, Big E lost his championship just before he got injured, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I mean, Big E's been out for at least 6 months, at least minimum, and I think it'd be a perfect time for him to make a surprise appearance, surprise return without anybody knowing. Obviously, people are expecting Cody Rhodes. He's already announced it. The Rock, people are potentially, expecting him there. John Cena, he just turns up whenever he bloody wants. But big Randy Orton, I think that's another one they're saving for the Rumble. They like to save certain people to, obviously, they might be ready to come back in December, but let's wait for the Rumble and make a bigger impact.
I tell you what, if Randy Orton comes back, he's getting the biggest pop.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They will.
I mean, the way what I would like to see Randy Orton, the way he comes back. Another person we've not seen for a while is Riddle. Actually, he's RK Bro partner.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Riddle comes back. He has he throws a couple of people out, one person out, whatever. Then boom, Randy Orton music hits, and it's 1-on-1 Randy Orton versus Riddle. They hug it out, and then boom, RK out of nowhere. I just love it, bro. RK out of nowhere is one of the best things you'll ever see in wrestling. Yeah, you think like he did to Edge when Edge returned. So Edge returned at the Rumble for the first time in, was it 2020 he returned?
Yeah.
On the night after on Raw, Randy Orton came out and said, okay, let's get rated RKO together again. And then out of nowhere, boom, hit him with an RKO. And it's similar to what Triple H did to Shawn Michaels when Shawn Michaels came back. He said, let's do DX. They did the whole DX celebration and boom, pedigreed Shawn Michaels out and all that.
I remember that. Yeah, that was quite a moment.
That was a moment, bro. And then Shawn, obviously, they went on to the SummerSlam match where it was Shawn Michaels' first match back in, nearly 9 years or something at that time. Yeah, crazy stuff. And then Shawn Michaels went on to have the second part of his career, which I think was probably better than the first half of his career, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first half of his career up until WrestleMania WrestleMania 14, where he lost to Austin with Mike Tyson there as the enforcer. That first part of his career, including the part where he was a tag team with Marty Jannetty, was what I remember watching when I was younger.
Yeah, no truth.
The whole Iron Man match with Bret Hart, the whole, starting of DX again, DX. And at that time, it was the Hart Foundation. And then, obviously, at that point, Shawn got in. Well, he didn't get injured. He had a fractured disc or dislocated disc or something because of a match against the Undertaker. Undertaker threw him over the top rope, and Shawn Michaels. There was a casket. It was a casket match.
Oh, okay, yes, I remember.
And then Shawn Michaels landed. He was meant to land feet first on the other side of the casket and then fall over. But then he actually landed back first on the casket edge. And then his feet hit the floor. And that's where he'd done his back over. And he fought matches from there up until WrestleMania. Well, I don't think he fought, but he was in a lot of pain going into WrestleMania 14 against Austin.
Yeah, I remember.
And that's why he obviously retired. Well, he retired at that point. It wasn't official retirement. It was just he's injured. But then he came back out of this so-called retirement to have probably the best part of his career, where I think two of the best matches he had was trying to beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania. Shaz, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, WrestleMania 25, WrestleMania 25 and 26. Yes, 25.
Yeah, 25 and 26. Yeah. And
yes.
Bro, if there was anybody that should have brought the streak at that time, it should have been Mr. WrestleMania himself, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, without a doubt.
But if it weren't, obviously, it was never going to be Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels didn't need the Undertaker to put him over, because Shawn Michaels was already over when they had that feud. You know what? And I'm going to go back to this, that the only person that should have beat the Undertaker is someone that they put over. And at the time they did it, yes, Roman Reigns worked, but he'd already lost to Brock Lesnar before, so it took away the impact that it would have had if it was Reigns that, beat him the first time.
Yeah.
And the other person I think that could have beat him at WrestleMania, which would have been the passing of the torch to this person, would have been Bray Wyatt.
So the funny thing is, so to go on to your point, interestingly, WrestleMania 25, when he fought Shawn Michaels, I thought that was the closest that Shawn Michaels came to literally winning it. And to be fair, like you said, I think that him ending the streak would not have been a bad thing, because it made sense. Those two were like ultimate legends.
I mean, it wouldn't have upset people as much. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly. And the other one, end of an era, WrestleMania 28. Triple H, Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. How the Undertaker got through that. That was
how the Undertaker got through that and won. I have no idea, bro. Was that the Hell in a Cell match?
Hell in a Cell. He got super kicked and pedigreed and still came out on top.
Hey, he had those supernatural Undertaker abilities, bro. That's all I'm saying on that. That's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying. It's supernatural, bro. The Undertaker's like, the dead man, so he can do these things.
Yeah.
He had lightning bolts hitting people at some points as well, bro.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I mean? It was mad. It was mad. But man, what's one of your favorite moments of a Royal Rumble, bro? Not as in match-wise, other matches at the Rumble, like in the Royal Rumble itself. What have you been your favorite moments that you remember?
Okay, so let me see. I won't go in any particular order.
No, not just random one, man.
So I liked it when where was WrestleMania? No, where was Royal Rumble in Madison Square Garden? Was that before?
That was before COVID, wasn't it?
Was it? When John Cena entered another 30.
When he came back randomly. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he just popped up.
He had a bad injury that year.
And he came back at the Royal Rumble a few months earlier. That pop that he got there, bro. That reminded me of the type of pop that Triple H got when he came back from his injury on Raw. Because he went out as a heel, injured,
and came back.
And when he came back as a babyface, and he had the biggest pop I'd ever heard. But that John Cena one at the Rumble was very close to that.
Yeah, so that
If
was
not,
one.
if not bigger, to be fair.
No, true.
If not bigger. Some of my favorite moments, and I know there's people tuned in here, so leave your favorite moments down below in the comments, and we'll bring those up in a bit. But what some of my favorite moments is the first one that I can think of is Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog starting 1 and 2 and ending it as Shawn Michaels, getting thrown out, but only 1 foot touching the floor. And then he threw British Bulldog out and won from number 1 spot, basically.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
And then he obviously did it again the year after, starting at number 1. And it was the first, I think that was the first one against Bulldog where he went to WrestleMania, and I believe he fought Kevin Nash for the title unsuccessfully. And then the second one, he won. He went on to face the Hitman in the Iron Man match at WrestleMania. Another moment, some of the moments I like in the Rumble are the Kofi Kingston moments. You know, when he gets thrown out and then he manages not to hit the floor and he comes back in on the chair, handstand, and stuff like that. Those are some of the moments I do like. It brings a bit of comedy and takes away a bit of the seriousness of the situation. For a little bit, it gives you a bit of a laugh. Other parts that I've liked, I can't remember who it was. Was it Santino Marella who came in and just got clotheslined straight out? There was like a 10-second gap where you were in.
5 seconds he was in there, literally came in.
Yeah.
Boom,
straight back out. And it wasn't a Royal Rumble, but it was the biggest Royal Rumble ever, which was in Saudi when Titus O'Neil ran down and he tripped over at the bottom and went under the ring.
Yes, I remember.
That's probably one of the funniest moments that I can think of at a Rumble. I know it wasn't a Royal Rumble, but it was like a Rumble match. Those are some of the funniest things I remember. And the other one that stands out to me is Rey Mysterio winning it, which I think was the year after Eddie Guerrero passed away.
Yeah, that was that was 2006. That was 2006.
That was the 2006 one. No, it was 2006.
Because Triple H.
Then he went on to WrestleMania to win the title as well.
Yeah, because Triple H was on to win it. Then he got knocked out. Then Randy Orton basically was supposed to win it. He didn't win it, and Mysterio ended up winning it.
And a lot of people say Rey Mysterio only won the Rumble and then went on to WrestleMania to win the title because of his closeness to Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, no, I don't know if you know this, Shaz, but when Eddie Guerrero passed away that year, Eddie Guerrero was meant to go on to WrestleMania to fight Mr. WrestleMania Shawn Michaels that year. Imagine that match, bro. Eddie Guerrero in his prime against at that time a prime Shawn Michaels. It would have been the perfect time for them to fight each other. Because I think it was
Michaels fight in the end. Then who did
Shawn Michaels fight that year?
If you can remember off the top of your head, I can't remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I can Google it though. What year was 2006?
Yeah.
WrestleMania 2006. Who was it? The main event of the show, which was the main match, John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. Now, I believe this one, didn't this have Chris Benoit in it as well?
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
No. The one with Chris Benoit was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit. I think this was just John Cena and Shawn Michaels. I'm not 100% sure, but it says it was John Cena. I'm just going to bring it up on Wikipedia because that usually gives you a better breakdown of the matches. Matches, results. There we go. No, it says it was John Cena versus Triple H, the main event. Oh, this is the one where Shawn Michaels had a fight against Vince McMahon.
Huh.
With Shane McMahon in the corner. Yeah. And that was the year The Undertaker actually beat Mark Henry in the casket match at WrestleMania. Wow. So Rey Mysterio won the title that year from Randy Orton and Kurt Angle in a triple threat match. Just in case you needed to know that one. But yeah, Shawn Michaels versus Vince McMahon that year. So that was an easy win.
So interestingly enough, with WrestleMania being in Hollywood this year, it's interesting because I like the idea of Brock returning because he doesn't have to go anywhere. Hollywood's on his doorstep, which makes it even
but
funnier.
it's if he's got time away from making movies to have trained for.
I know.
Well, I don't think he would need to really train much because he goes to he has a gym with him everywhere he goes, and he look he works out. But it's obviously the ring rust he has to get rid of. And has he had time to do that?
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't need to get rid of a lot of ring rust for a Royal Rumble match, but then leading up to WrestleMania, will he have enough time to get rid of that ring rust to then have a good match against Roman Reigns? Now, The Rock is a big superstar. There's no doubt about it. Probably one of the biggest superstars in wrestling history. But I'm going to say something that some people might disagree with. The Rock's in-ring ability wasn't the best.
Yeah, I agree.
All he had was the punches, a couple of kicks, a rock bottom, people's elbow, Samoan drop. What other moves did he do? Really? Like, let's be honest. I mean, I'm not dissing The Rock. I mean, I'm a big fan of The Rock as a person in general. It's just if you compare him to the likes of Seth Rollins, Adam Cole, even Shawn Michaels and Eddie Guerrero and people like that, they've had a lot more wrestling ability than The Rock. Like they were very well, they are very well good, performers in the ring. Like Seth Rollins and Adam Cole are two right now. Seth Rollins is probably one of the best performers WWE has.
So Shaz, let me take you through an interesting list.
Let me talk to you. Say it as LA Knight does, bro. Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you. So basically, I'm just Googling, and since we're on the topic of the Royal Rumble, I just wanted to see who's actually confirmed. So from what I can see, 16 of the 30 entrants have been announced as of the 27th of January, which is today.
So that's today.
So currently we've got, if I go through the list that we can see, we've got Kofi Kingston, Santos Escobar, Ricochet. You got Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley.
Hold on. Say it properly, bro. Seth freaking Rollins.
Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin. You got Rey Mysterio, Gunther. You got Cody Rhodes, obviously, as Shaz has mentioned. You got Omos. You got Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross, and last but not least, so far confirmed, is Dominic Mysterio. So that still leaves another 14 to...
So did you say Rey Mysterio's name in there, bro? Sorry. So he's confirmed as well. Okay.
He's confirmed, yeah.
What about Gunther?
Yeah, Gunther's in there.
What about the other guys with Gunther? Ludwig, Kaiser, and Da Vinci? They're not confirmed, no.
They haven't confirmed.
The Usos aren't confirmed?
The Usos aren't on there either.
Sami Zayn's not confirmed?
No.
Okay. So who are the Usos fighting at the Rumble? Are they defending the tag titles at the Rumble?
I need to have a look, actually.
Well, let's bring up the Raw card and just not the Raw card, the Royal Rumble card, and let's just quickly do predictions on the actual card itself.
Yeah, let's wrap it up with that.
Wrap it up with the card.
Let's have a look.
So I know, obviously, the only other match I know of that's fully confirmed is Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. And then you've got the Rumble match. Austin Theory and Seth Rollins. Is that a match on the card?
Let me share the website. It might help.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you. Okay, share screen.
Elliot.
Let me know if you can see this in a second.
I'll bring it up on the screen, bro.
Nice.
There we go. Okay, so we've got the Undisputed Championship, the Raw Women's title, not really bothered, the Men's Rumble, Women's Rumble, Mountain Dew, Pitch Black. Oh, yeah, LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. That's the only card?
Yeah, that's on WWE's website.
So there's only 3 matches and then 2 Rumble matches.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Where are the tag titles? Where's the IC title? Where's the US title?
What the heck, man? That's what I mean.
Pay-per-views are supposed to be where all your titles are defended, bro. What
Yeah,
the
but that's the other
heck?
problem. So they're not. They like Chaz has said. There's a couple
Wow.
of matches that are missing. You've still got 14 of the
Wow.
superstars. So are
I'm
you telling me
disappointed.
that?
I'm very
Yeah, that's what I mean.
disappointed right now,
That's
bro.
what I mean. I would have expected last 5 or 6. You're telling me
Bro,
Smack.
this should be Gunther should be defending his IC title against whoever. Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley should have been saved for the Royal Rumble, and Brock Lesnar should have returned at the Rumble to cost him the title. There would have been a bigger impact at the Royal Rumble instead of on Raw 30. Just another episode of Raw, really. The Usos should be defending those tag team titles. And on there, it only shows the Raw Women's the Raw Women's title. So where's the SmackDown title? And
No,
where's the I don't even know if the titles still exist. The Women's Tag Team Championships. What's going on? Have they been, have they got rid of them? I know they got rid of the 24/7 title. They got rid of that. I remember that. But the Raw Women's Tag Team titles haven't been seen since, who was it? Sasha Banks and Naomi decided to hand them back and just leave. Like, they didn't do anything with them after that. And they've got rid of the NXT versions of it as well.
No, I agree. There's a lot
This
missing.
is a shit show, man. The WWE is just a shit show at the moment. Quite a lot of it. There's not much in there that you could. Do you agree with me, Chaz?
No, I agree. I just love the way you put it. It's a shit show.
But by the Bloodline storyline that's been going on for like 800 days, is there anything else that's kept your attention into WWE?
No, not really.
Besides, the only other part that actually kept me interested was, and this was a while back, was the Undisputed Era before they split them up like idiots.
Okay.
The other part was obviously Finn Balor when he was in NXT, just coming in, destroying everyone and being NXT champion. Tommaso Ciampa when he was in NXT was brilliant. His feud with Johnny Gargano was a brilliant feud. It reminded me a lot of Shawn Michaels and Triple H because they were best friends, and these two guys are best friends as well. So it brought in that element and that type of vibe.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. No doubt. But let's see what happens.
Before we close the show off, Shaz, I'll ask you 2 questions. Your realistic pick for the winner of the Rumble and your unrealistic pick for the winner of the Rumble. I know you've already said Sami Zayn, so we'll go with that as the unrealistic.
No, okay. Okay, I got to be honest. If you want me to be honest, my unrealistic pick is obviously The Rock. And that's probably a lot more unrealistic than most.
Yeah.
My realistic pick, if I had to put my hand on heart, I can see what you call Kevin Owens winning it. You never know.
What, the Royal Rumble or the match against Roman?
The match against Roman.
Oh hell no, bro! You didn't just say that.
Hey,
Come on, bro! You did not just say Kevin Owens should be beating Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble tomorrow night. Are you being serious right now, bro? Come on.
No, but I'm hoping it spikes.
Bro, throw your wands up in the air, man. You've got. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on. You can't be serious with that one. I'm gonna let that one slide, bro. I'm gonna let that one slide. Just because I know we've had a long week at work. I'm gonna let that one slide for now, bro. I'll make sure the tribal chief doesn't hear about that. If he does, bro, you're gonna have Sami Zayn, the Usos, and Solo Sikoa come after you, bro. So, and I can't help you at that stage, bro. I can't come and defend you at that point against the Bloodline, bro.
It's all good, man. It's all good fun.
You might get Sami Zayn backing you up, though. You never know. You never know. No, but that's the Royal Rumble men's winner. What about Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight?
Bray Wyatt.
It's got to be in it, bro. I mean, he's come back about a month or two ago now. He's not had a match. His first match back in a couple of years as well.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt.
So he's obviously going to win. Now, the only thing with Bray Wyatt, I didn't mention this earlier, but to me, it looks like he's put on a lot of weight.
He's been out
since
for a
he's been
while,
away.
so yeah.
Yeah, that's just one thing, and I don't know if that's intentional, unintentional, whatever it is. But let's see what happens. Let's see if he's still got the abilities in the ring. But I'm gonna go with I actually prefer LA Knight in this one, bro, because this is LA Knight's first pay-per-view match as well. You have to remember, and he needs that momentum. So it'd be a good way of putting a new star over by having him beat a former Universal Champion in Bray Wyatt. But I don't see it happening that way. I do see Bray Wyatt winning this match because it's his first match back since he's re-signed. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns on that one. There's no one else you can pick on this one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say to Kevin Owens, there's just no one else you can pick besides the Tribal Chief. You don't want to upset the Tribal Chief, bro. He'll send Paul Heyman after you, bro. The other match is Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. Is that right?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Bianca Belair wins it.
Do you not see Alexa winning that one because she's going back to the dark side with Bray Wyatt like she was before?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Men's Royal Rumble winner, you've said The Rock. I'm going to go Cody Rhodes. I don't see him going on to WrestleMania to beat Roman Reigns, but I want to see him go to WrestleMania and fight Roman Reigns and just get beat. That's the only reason I want to see him win the Rumble. So he can go to WrestleMania. He can have his second big WrestleMania moment in 2 years, gets beat by the Tribal Chief, and then he can go back to AEW where he belongs, bro. That's it. I mean, if you look at it, bro, most of AEW is people that couldn't beat Roman Reigns in Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. And then that's where Cody Rhodes is going to end up. Malachi Black's there. Christian Cage is there because he couldn't hang with the Tribal Chief. Adam Cole's there. I think Adam Cole's a brilliant wrestler, so I'm not going to say anything against Adam Cole on that one. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, they definitely can't hang with the Tribal Chief or the Usos. That's why they're over there. Let's be honest, bro. AEW right now is just a bunch of AEW rejects. WWE rejects, plus a couple of indie wrestlers thrown in there. And obviously you've got the Ocho Chris Jericho in there. And then you've got that scumbag MJF, who will eventually be on Monday Night Raw in January 2024 when his contract with AEW expires.
Bro, that's going to be a huge pop, bro.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's just using it to get more money out of Tony Khan in AEW, personally. I don't think he will. If he wants more money and WWE give him a bigger offer, he will move because he said that himself. He'll go for the money.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, one thing I would have liked to have seen, obviously it's not going to happen because it involves the person in the background behind us on the screen, Jay Briscoe. I would have loved to see the Briscoes versus the Usos against the Street Profits. Some of the good tag teams in WWE. It would have been good for them to make their way into AEW, not AEW, WWE, especially when Ring of Honor closed.
Yeah.
It was a shame we never got to see him in a WWE ring. Maybe they had tryouts previously, or maybe they were in WWE, like on dark matches or something like that. But I would have liked to have seen him in a bigger capacity in WWE, feuding with the Street Profits, the Usos, Imperium, even Pretty Deadly, the New Day. Do you know what I mean? They would have had some brilliant matches with those type of teams in WWE.
No, absolutely.
And the matches that stand out for me, though, for the Briscoes, were the two that they've recently had against FTR. Yes. Especially that double dog collar match, bro. That was brutal.
Crazy, bro, crazy.
And they did a tribute to Jay Briscoe on Dynamite. I don't know if you caught it. His brother Mark Briscoe fought Jay Lethal, and he used Jay Briscoe's finisher, the Jay Driller, I think it's called, to win the match. And then everyone from AEW's locker room came out with a Jay Briscoe shirt on. And one thing I like about what AEW have done here is that they paid tribute to him, but they've also released a shirt for Jay Briscoe. And 100% of proceedings will go to his family, so his wife and kids, which I think is brilliant. And the way that they support people in AEW is brilliant. They did it with Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper, when he passed away. They supported his family, and they're supporting Jay Briscoe's family. And I think it's a good thing to do. And you don't see WWE do it. Maybe they do it behind closed doors, but we never hear of it. So to me, if you don't hear of it, it's it might be that they haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
But AEW put it out there, right? We're selling this T-shirt for Jay Briscoe. All money goes to his family. End of story. So they're going to pay for the merchandise to be made, ship it out, everything, but all the money that they get for it is going to go to the family. And I think it's a brilliant thing to do to support someone's family, especially from, someone who's passed away.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's not just AEW that's done that. I mean, obviously, Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor, so they're doing it under the Ring of Honor banner because that's where Jay Briscoe made his name as a tag team with his brother. They've held the Ring of Honor tag team titles more than any other team, 13 times. This time that they just won it off the FTR recently was the 13th. And unfortunately, we never got to see them defend it again.
Yeah, that's true.
What I would like to see is Mark Briscoe defend both titles in his brother's name, 2-on-1 if it has to be, and fight. But I don't think they're going to do it. Maybe he relinquishes the title and retires because he's 38, is Mark Briscoe. And I think Jay was his older brother.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Jay Briscoe was the older of the two. But, these things happen in life. You never know when you're going to go meet your maker, bro.
Exactly, bro.
But Royal Rumble winner, Shaz-wise, is The Rock. I'm going for Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns is going to beat Kevin Owens. Bray Wyatt's going to beat LA Knight. And that's all that matters. The other two matches don't really matter to me. That's just being honest. Any final thoughts, Shaz, before we wrap up?
No, it's going to be an interesting Rumble. We're looking forward to watching it hopefully tomorrow night as opposed to on a Sunday night when we've got work on Monday.
Yeah, definitely. I hope there's more surprises than we're expecting. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they throw a bit of unpredictability.
I mean, in all honesty, they could have kept the Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley match for the Rumble and had it finished the same way with Brock Lesnar coming back at the Royal Rumble. I think it would have had a bigger impact with the fans that he's come back at the Royal Rumble to take Bobby Lashley out. But then he didn't just take Bobby Lashley out. He took out Austin Theory. He F5'd him right on top of Bobby Lashley to win the match.
I saw that, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if that was just a one-off where he just comes out and cost him the match and we never see him again for months, or if he's going to appear. What, is he going to appear at the Rumble? Is he going to be in the Rumble? Is he going to cost Bobby Lashley winning the Rumble? What's going to happen? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let you bounce, bro. I'm going to bounce. It's getting late. We will reconvene the wrestling show in a couple of weeks. But for everyone that's tuned in, for the people that tuned in after we've gone offline, tune in tomorrow. We will be back with more Premier League and football talk, where we'll be talking about Ronaldo and his effect at Al Nassr, that they've been knocked out of the cup. And we'll be talking about anything to do with football that we can think of. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate Shaz, joining. As always, we had a good wrestling conversation. Sometimes we just have these sat down next to each other, but sometimes it's good just to get it all online for everyone else to get involved as well. So appreciate your time and support. Appreciate the love. I'm going to throw you a too sweet, but I'm also going to give you an Undisputed Era just for the sake of it, bro. I'm going to give you the Undisputed Era as well. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you after the Rumble.